Good morning, people. Today I'll show you how to replace a caliper on a VW, Skoda Superb or any other Skoda. They're pretty much identical, just like any other Passats, Audis. All the VAG group cars, they're pretty much all the same. So just want to give you a little run through how to replace a caliper. So firstly, obviously you need to remove the wheel. Next thing, see if this pipe comes off, because you have to remove it from there. There is a little metal clip, so that metal clip comes out, and that has to come off as well. I'm guessing it's 11 mil. Once you've got this off, you can remove the caliper. That will be it, really. You will leak some fluid, so just make sure you've got rag, but then don't forget you have to top it up and bleed the system, which I'll show you later. So now we can try to lever this metal clip out. So you can see it's pretty simple. So now we can try to gently undo this pipe. This is a very important pipe because the new caliper doesn't come with it, so you have to sort of use the old one, or you can replace them by buying new ones off eBay or Amazon, whatever, up front before doing the job. Sometimes they basically are seizing onto the nut, and when you're trying to undo the nut, you're actually twisting the pipe. The pipe breaks right at the end, and if you've got the ability of making a new pipe, then sound, but if you don't, obviously you need to get a new one. So let's get a spanner, let's try cracking them off. Right, so I got my 11 mil spanner. Let's see what happens. You see the pipe is moving with the actual nut, and that's not good because I don't have a pipe to replace it, but you can see this one is coming out easy and it's not spinning, so I think we could just get away with undoing the bottom, and I think we can feed the pipe up, hopefully. We'll see in a second. Okay, so I've managed to remove the bottom and loosen up the top, so the actual pipe is sort of seized onto the nut, but the nut came off, so it's kind of free, so we can wiggle the whole pipe and just remove it like that without detaching it from the actual rubber hose. To be fair, that's maybe even better, because if these pipes break, then you just got trouble. There you go. So just hook this up for a second at the top there, and you may leak brake fluid, but it may not when it's a little bit higher. So for now, what we need to do, we need to remove the handbrake cable, and for that we need is ideally screwdriver or pliers, because you can squash the two pins. One here. Is my torch on? Here it is. You can squash the 2 points, one here and one at the bottom, and then you need to just pull it out. So I need 2 hands for this. Right, so the 2 bolts are removed. Now you can wiggle the caliper and take it off. There you go. Caliper is off. I've got a new slider kit, so we're going to replace the sliders as well, with all the rubbers and everything going to be removed. Right, so that's our caliper. Let's see if it's the same one. It looks the same. Always compare before fitting. So obviously we've got the feed, got the bracket with the holes, the spring, everything seems to be the right way, the bleeding nipple on here, and that's it. The kit, the slider kit is right there, so we're gonna use that. Happy days. Okay, so just one top tip: if you won't be able to feed this pipe and you won't be able to do up this nut, then what I suggest is removing that bolt, this little Torx bit that's at the end, and take off the spring from the handbrake, because then the bracket moves more and it gives you more sort of leverage over the, because this pipe has to be perfectly straight. And don't forget that this nut has to go in hand tight. Yeah, if you won't go in hand tight, that means you cross threading it. This is fine thread. If you cross thread it once, well, it will leak. You put your foot on the brake and it may leak. Well, 90% of the times when it's cross threaded it does leak, because it has to be very tight and it has to be perfectly straight, otherwise, like I said, it will leak. So make sure that this goes in nice finger tight all the way, pretty much all the way in, and then once it's in, you can start putting the bracket and the spring back on. Just a little tip. Right, so what you need to do next is get yourself a brake cleaner and wash everything. Make sure everything is nice and dry, because if there will be any leaks, you have to see it. Okay, so once you wash the part where the fluid goes and it's mounted back onto the caliper carrier with the new bolts, new rubbers, new sliders and everything, put a little bit of grease onto the end, onto this ball end for the handbrake, and attach the cable, and then we're gonna start bleeding the system. Okay, so once everything is connected on this side, what you need to do now is top up the brake fluid pretty much all the way to the top. We're gonna be attaching this pipe, not this one, the thicker one, onto the pipe. There we go. And now I'll fire up my diagnostic equipment and start up the ABS pump so that it starts pumping the fluid around the system. So you press bleed brakes, you go on to the brakes, basic settings. The ABS pump should start pumping. Okay. Maybe the yeah. Come on, come on, come on. There you go. So we've got the pump running. Now you can just undo the bleeding nipple and let the fluid come out. It'll start draining into the bottle in a minute. There you go. See, that's pumping nice, and we can close that, and now the system is being pumped. That's it. Now the pedal is hard and the system is bled. Press escape, and what we can do here, you can see that we don't have any leaks because everything is under pressure. Can't see any leaks, that's just dirt. No leaks anywhere underneath, no leaks around here, that's all nice. The brake fluid obviously is in there, the excess, the caliper is solid, well, it still moves, but the caliper, I mean the piston moved out. That means it has enough fluid, so we can gently take off the pipe, and that's it. System is bled really quickly. Let's have a look how much fluid we still have. Yeah, we still got fluid in there. You won't see it because everything is in the way, but we've got plenty of fluid in there. So now we can put the cap back on and ready to go. Okay, so I can't see any leaks. Everything is working. Handbrake is working on like 4 clicks, so it works as you should. So now just final wash off, so there is no grease, no leaks anywhere, especially from the bleeding nipple. Wash all this off and job is done. Make sure you check the level of the brake fluid. Make sure it's at the right level. Put the cap back on and ready to go. Thank you for watching. See you next time.